Do you want to be able to produce more power or be more aero? Which will ultimately make you quicker?
Well, it's a good question. To go faster on the bike and as cyclists, I think we all understand that we need to be able to produce more power. But in addition to that, we need to consider our drag. For instance, you may be able to put out the best power in a race, but if your position is like a brick, well, you'll be wasting a lot of that energy and power in overcoming your drag. And it seems that a lot of you folk out there have been cottoning on to this. You've been focusing on your aerodynamics and really honing your positions, but at what cost? See, holding a super aero position can put a lot of strain on our bodies and ultimately reduce our body's ability to be able to produce more power. But does that matter if you're making aerodynamic gains?
So you can see the conundrum, can't you? More power or more aero? Will I make more gains through being able to produce more power or through being more aerodynamic, or should it be a perfect blend of the two? Well, I'm going to be the guinea pig for you today. We have teamed up with Notio. We're using their Notio device that's on my bike right now to monitor my coefficient of drag, my CDA, in relation to my power output. And to pull this apart further, we're bringing in an expert.
All right, I'm delighted to have good friend Matt Bottrell back in on a GTN video now. Not only is Matt an aero expert, he's also a phenomenal athlete in his own right. And I am eager to get your thoughts on this debate of being more aero or more powerful. Should you trade one off for the other?
It's one of the biggest questions we're always asked, Mark. And yeah, and to answer your question, obviously if we go too aero, then that's going to impinge your hips, it's going to affect the back, it could also affect running off the bike. But obviously if we come too high, then there's going to be a big time penalty for that. So we've got to try and find that in-between ground, and hopefully we can discover that today.
So what you're saying is, yes, it's okay to sacrifice some power, but to an extent.
Totally, there's going to be that, we've just got to find that magical window, you know, like we don't want to affect the power too much, because that's going to, really impinge that overall time. But then we don't want to affect your running as well off the bike, so we should be able to find that out.
Okay, so absolutely, so we don't want to be throwing time away, obviously. And I guess as the event gets longer, is this more of an issue? Would you perhaps not go quite as aero and have such a sacrifice?
Yeah, and totally, and just work out what the ability of the rider is. Obviously, they've got like tight hip flexors, tight hamstrings, then we're not going to be able to be as aggressive as somebody that's got more mobility. And obviously, if you're doing like a sprint, then we can probably just chase the aero. So, but for longer distance, definitely, you know, we don't want to go too extreme.
Okay, well, obviously this is a massive conundrum, something that a lot of us are debating day in, day out. And obviously, very fortunate people could head into a wind tunnel and have this measured very accurately. But as we all know, it's not exactly real. We do need to test this outside in real life conditions with the wind and how we'd naturally ride. And I think that's really important. So I'm very excited to be using one of these Notio devices, and I'm going to use you as a coach today, Matt, and we're going to play around my position using this in connection with my power meter and change that position around and see how we get on.
Yeah, it's really exciting. You know, like with these devices, you know, the accuracy of them is second to none, so we'll be able to get some real conclusive data from this. So let's get out there.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, Mark, we're going to be ready for our testing now. So to start off with, have you weighed the bike and yourself?
Combined weight of 87 kilograms.
So we're looking quite mean and lean at the minute, which is always good. So the first run we're going to take is we're going to do a mile out and a mile back. And we just want to get an accurate, you know, like a baseline CDA.
So that's almost to like calibrate the system, something to work off. Then.
Yeah, we just want like accurate data.
Okay.
So then we can get some nice repeats in. The first one we're going to do, we're going to have like this 80 mil of stack. Then I suggest what we will do then is we'll drop 40 out, and then we'll drop it basically down to the base bar. Okay. And then we can see like the impingement around like power, and we can also impingement around your hips. Okay,
and speed-wise, hold the same speed for all of them?
Yeah, I think if you can run around 40k an hour, that's going to be a nice benchmark.
All right,
go from there.
Let's get this baseline one in then. All right, calibration run done. So that was a mile-ish out, mile back. 0.281 for my CDA, that coefficient of drag?
Yeah, Mark, we've got some work to do. I definitely
really?
can't see this being the winning position. It might be a powerful one, but this is where the trade-off begins.
Well,
really.
yeah, I have started on the full stack height for my benchmark, so cut me some slack here.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's going to improve. I've also brought my Aero helmet along. I'm in full winter gear. I'm going to bring out all the excuses.
Yeah. No, it's it's a good baseline to begin with, but we've got to improve that.
What's like a good number? Actually?
I think like if you looked at like world class, then trying to get below 0.2.
Wow. Okay. Probably not going to achieve that today.
Yeah, not with the equipment that we ride in, but for most age groupers, if we can start getting below 0.25, then that's going to make significant gains over overall.
All right. Well, let's get this first run in then. So kind of the same again, but on this full stack height. Okay, got my coach here for some words of wisdom. Obviously, you can't ride with me. I've got to do this completely solo so it doesn't disturb the Aero results. Right, into Notio app, Aero test. Okay,
off you go.
Let's go. Okay, so first stage over, on to the next one. I've got my mechanic working very hard here. We're taking out one adapter, so we're going down to 40 mil. Okay, we've dropped it down.
Yeah, we've gone for 40 mil this time, Mark. You know, this is extreme to what we're doing, but we obviously want to get another run in and just see how that's going to impact your hip, how that's going to affect the aerodynamics, and ultimately how that's going to affect the speed and your power. So
we might see a drop off in power on this, or
potentially. This is probably more what you're used to.
Yeah.
I'd say for a lot of athletes, if they made an extreme move like this, then there could be an impact on the power.
Yeah, like you say, I guess normally when you're doing this kind of tweaking using the Notio device, you're talking like incremental changes. We're trying to showcase the difference here, so we've gone quite significant.
Yeah, normally we'd make like a 20 mil move, but for this test we'll do like 40 and we'll see what that gives us.
All right, let's get this one going then. All right, we're 2 runs down now, so we're going to drop it right down, slam this front end. It's going well so far. So the first run, I had a CDA of 0.281, which, as you said, isn't spectacular. I've now, on the 40 mil riser, I've gone 0.262. So improved the CDA, reduction in power, obviously, because I'm more aerodynamic and traveling at the same speed. I didn't feel a reduction in the amount of power that I could put out, but it'd be interesting. This is going to go quite low now.
Yeah, we're going to go quite extreme now, Mark. We're going to drop another 40, so this is definitely going to impinge your hip. More than likely create a bit of back pain, but let's find out, see what it does.
Got the Allen keys ready, let's do this. Okay, final run now.
I'm excited by this one, Mark. We're going another 40 mil, so we're going to the extreme.
Potentially, well, hopefully the most aerodynamic, so it'll be interesting to see what it does. So, all right, here we go. Off we go.
So, with 0 mil of stack height, I have unsurprisingly reduced my CDA further to 0.257. Now, when we compare all of these alongside each other, I can see that there was a big and significant saving between the 80mm stack and the 40mm stack, but very little when I dropped to 0mm. As I've mentioned already, my power did drop when we went from 80mm to 40mm, but that was purely because I was trying to hold a similar speed, not because I couldn't put out the power. But when I dropped to 0mm and fully slammed that front end, I certainly started to feel like I was beginning to struggle to find the power. In addition to that, I was just very uncomfortable. Now, given that this was only a short segment, I suspect those CDA savings would actually be lost as the duration increased due to the discomfort I was experiencing. So in summary, 40mm was definitely the sweet spot for myself, but perhaps we could explore between 0mm and 40mm in the future. Anyway, whilst we're here, I've got one more test for you.
Matt has insisted that I pop the Aero helmet on and I see the difference. So here we go. All right, let's go. That has been super cool today. I felt very pro being able to get an actual CDA result kind of in real time as I finished each test. So just to recap, with 80mm stack height, so that full stack height at the beginning, a CDA of 0.281, and then we dropped down to 40mm, 0.262, and then on that 0mm stack height, so really slammed down, 0.257, so we definitely improved on each of those.
Yeah, they're significant improvements, Mark, you know, over the course of the runs. So yeah, they'd equate to some massive savings over like your 70.3 Ironman leg. So yeah, definitely worth taking.
Yeah, and we will be popping those up on screen right now, so you'll be seeing these savings extrapolated out over some distances relevant to triathlon. And then finally, just an interesting one, we just, for a bit of a laugh, put the Aero helmet on, and this was really interesting. 0.239, the fastest of the day, the best CDA. That's incredible.
Yeah, but that's the kind of what we expect, Mark. You know, like if you get a good position and then you can drop the head into place, then those gains are significant.
Yeah, that is cool. I've got to say, it does all feel quite pro. Obviously, we've been traveling at 40 kilometers an hour today, which might deter some people because they're thinking, well, I'm never going to travel at 40 kilometers an hour. Is this still relevant for your slower athletes?
Yeah, totally. You know, like, it doesn't matter if, you know, like, you're trying to win an Ironman World Championships or finish, like, your first Ironman. These gains are significant. Like, ultimately, every, like, 10 watts in saving that we're going to make, we're probably going to save, like, between, like, 3 and 5 minutes off, like, our Ironman time, which is significant, you know. And now you've got to look at this. You want to try and do the least amount of power for the maximum amount of speed. So lower CDAs are going to equate to that.
And as we found, I mean, the helmet made a significant difference. So would you say that before someone starts ripping apart their position, maybe look towards equipment, or is it maybe a mix of the two?
It's a combination of the two, Mark, realistically, because like if you do make a positional change, then it can alter the back angle, which then can alter like the head position. But I think for a lot of people, where do you really want to start with this? I would say that you start with the body position, and then you work around like, you know, like your helmet. And just think that, you know, like throughout all of this, 80% of your drag is going to come from the body. So if you can make changes to it, then the gains that you're going to shave off your 70.3, your Ironman, even like your sprint try, are huge. So it's all worth looking at.
Well, Matt, thanks so much for coming along today. Helping just pull this bike apart and change the position, but also just the advice you've given us today has been absolutely brilliant. If you guys have enjoyed today's video, please do give it a thumbs up, give it a like. Don't forget to give us a follow over on social media, and please drop some comments down below if you've got any questions for myself or Matt, and don't forget to give us a subscribe just down below too.